Welcome to the daily debate. I'm Mohammed. AI is everywhere in the world, and there is an escalating competition between the United States and China in controlling and dominating AI around the globe. Actually, it is considered one of the significant geopolitical conflicts in the 21st century. AI affects everything in our lives, from economy to social media, everything in our lives. So it is really crucial who dominates AI, because he's going to lead the world. That's why there is a fierce competition between the United States and China. This is our topic for today, and we'll start with our top stories. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi underscored the need to further strengthen the state's efforts to a conducive investment environment for both foreign and local capitals, to boost domestic oil and gas production in order to meet development needs, reduce the import bill, and alleviate burdens on citizens. During his meeting with Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli and Minister of Petroleum and Mineral Resources Karim Badawi, the head of state also stressed the crucial need to focus on developing new discoveries, accelerating their integration into production, expanding research and exploration program, and offering additional incentives to achieve more growth in the petroleum and mineral resources sector. Minister of Foreign Affairs, Immigration and Egyptian Expatriates Badr Abdul Ati met Nigeria's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the Nigerian capital Abuja. During the talks, Abdul Ati delivered a message from President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to his Nigerian counterpart, which hailed deep ties binding the two nations and expressed Egypt's keenness to cement coordination and cooperation across various fields and support security and stability in Africa. Let's go for our first report for today.
The race for dominance in artificial intelligence, AI, has become a key front in a strategic rivalry between the United States and China, and the accelerating development of AI has nowadays emerged as one of the most critical arenas of technological rivalry between the two countries, as both nations recognize that it is not just a tool for economic development, but as a foundational technology that will shape the global balance of power and national security for decades to come. As a result, the competition has intensified across multiple domains, including research, talent acquisition, investment, and military integration, as well as spanning across national security, economic dominance, technological leadership, and influence over global norms and standards. AI technologies, including machine learning, natural language processing, computer vision, and robotics, are transforming sectors from healthcare and finance to defense and surveillance. As AI becomes central to innovation, productivity, and national defense, leadership in this field is increasingly tied to geopolitical influence. Recognizing this, both the U.S. and China have made AI a core strategic priority. The United States has traditionally led in AI research, powered by elite academic institutions, tech giants, giants like Google, Microsoft, Meta, OpenAI, and startup-friendly innovation ecosystem. The American private sector has developed cutting-edge large language models, advanced robotics, and AI infrastructure. The United States has historically led in AI innovation largely due to its world-class universities. Private tech giants like Google, Microsoft's its advantage lies in foundational models, cutting-edge research, and chip design. However, China is rapidly closing the gap with strong state support and a clear strategic roadmap, including the Next Generation AI Development Plan launched in 2017. China aims to become the world leader in AI by 2030. China's strengths lie in data abundance, aggressive government funding, and AI application in industries such as surveillance, smart cities, and e-commerce. Chinese companies are expanding their global AI footprint while China aggressively trains and retains top-tier AI talent. A growing flashpoint is the integration of AI into defense systems. Both nations are embedding AI into military strategy, raising concerns about the emergence of autonomous weapons and AI-enabled warfare. The U.S. has responded with export controls on AI-related technologies, especially advanced semiconductors, to limit China's access to critical resources.
Welcome back. So AI seems to be the battlefield for this century, 21st century, between the United States and China, and whoever is going to control it and dominate is going to lead the world. This is our topic for today, and we are honored to be joined by Dr. Mohammed Azzam, a board member of the International Association of Management of Technology. Thanks for being with us.
Always pleasure and honor. Thank you.
So, Dr. Mohammed, why is it that important that to the point that it becomes the battlefield of this century between China and the United States?
Thank you for this question, but the answer is very simple actually. Who is owning the technology, who will be ahead on the competitiveness ladder? Actually, AI is transforming the way we do everything. Its impact is beyond imagination. Actually, the expected economic impact of artificial intelligence by 2030, we are talking about almost 15 trillion US dollars. This will be added to the global GDP. Actually, AI is transforming all economic sectors, that including the defense sector, healthcare sector, financial services, energy sector, material science and pharmaceutical sector, just name it. Actually, it's reinventing everything because the ability of the machines to deal with this kind of or the large amount of data. Actually, we are now talking about 150 zettabyte of data. It's 150 times 10 to the power 21. So this is something like 150 trillion billion gigabytes. It's a huge amount of data, and AI is capable to dig into such data and to find correlations between the data and build on such correlation. The machines now can build another models having a relation between different materials and substance, creating or having a way to have new drug discovery even for impossible diseases that we are facing today, like the cancer or the diseases related to the malfunction of genes, or actually it's building a new era. That's why it's very important to understand that a country like the United States or a country like China are competing in this arena to the maximum. Actually, United States decided to invest $1 trillion US.
1 trillion
yes, actually,
US dollars.
And China is going to invest the same amount within the coming...
That budget goes around in how many years?
As we're talking here about the coming 10 years.
The coming 10 years.
And actually, as well as the European Union is planning to invest another 400 billion euros in this domain. Because owning such technology...
What about China? How much they are planning to spend on AI?
Actually, another trillion.
Another trillion.
Yes.
So $1 trillion here in the United States and $1 trillion in in China. So the United States is taking it even further by imposing sanctions and tariffs, very high tariffs on Chinese products, especially semiconductors. How far that could push back Chinese efforts in AI?
Actually, they are harming each other, because in this war, actually no one will win. This tariff or this kind of trade war started during the first term of President Trump, actually in 2018. And Trump administration, or the first Trump administration, imposed such restrictions on Chinese enterprises, and actually is trying to prevent China for having a sort of knowledge transfer. And having so many restrictions regarding exporting high-tech or the advanced chip, especially for NVIDIA. Actually, NVIDIA is one of, actually is becoming the largest company today. It's evaluated at $4 trillion US. This for the first time in history to have a company valuated at $4 trillion. And what the Chinese on the other side doing, actually China has been invested in high-tech or emerging technologies for the last 10 years. They had very ambitious plans called Made in China 2025, and the objective of such initiative is to have China as #1 in so many different fields, that including semiconductors, including e-commerce, supercomputing, quantum computing, next generation telecom system, material
But
sciences.
again, how far these sanctions and tariffs, very high tariffs, imposed by the US on China has affected giant technology companies in China and their efforts to go forward in AI technologies?
Because China is building their own models. They are building their core technologies by Chinese enterprises and companies. And we've seen that a startup, actually almost 40 years old, coming from China, the DeepSeek,
yes.
actually harmed NVIDIA, the largest company of the world, because he used less advanced processors, and he trained the model at cost of $6 million US only. And this actually, the introduction of DeepSeek AI model made a company like NVIDIA to lose $560 billion of its market value in a single day. This is the largest single day loss in the history of the American stock market. Actually, to imagine this size, the 560 billion is equivalent to the GDP of a country like Sweden, for example. This is actually, this shows that Chinese are working and working very hard to build their own technology and to minimize the effect of this kind of tariff war, this kind of sanctions or restriction on exporting high-tech from the United States to China. Especially now, China has their own chip manufacturers. They have their own companies working in core technologies in different aspects, actually, or different fields, not only AI, because AI is part of a broader perspective perspective, if you need to capitalize on AI to harass the impact of AI and to amplify it, you need to work with material science to produce high-speed microprocessors and to advance the other fields related to AI, especially the telecom. Actually, China is becoming #1 in the telecom industry, and we have a very prominent Chinese company actually is dominating the 5G networks all over the world, and this is part of the conflict between the United States and China, because they are trying to stop such a giant Chinese company for acquiring more market shares within the United States and even within the countries that has strong ties with the United States, like European Union or Canada. And actually this company is totally advanced compared to their counterparts in Europe and in the United States. And this company established almost like 30 years ago. And they were able to suppress all giant companies working in the telecom domain, because telecom domain is very sophisticated domain, by the way.
Yes.
And most of the patents are for the next gen telecom systems are coming from the Chinese company. Actually, they are filing 6,600 patents a year. This more than the patents filed by a country like Poland. So you can imagine the size of investment they are putting, because R&D is not an option to be competitive and to own this kind of technology.
So that's a huge amount of money invested in the field of AI and its affiliated sectors. That takes us to a very important question: how far there is a difference between regulations managing research and development and even investment, if there is any difference in regulations between the United States and China in that field?
Actually, both countries are not in favor of regulating AI. And they are trying to have the development as fast as they can. They need to win the race, because it's a race actually. This situation is different within European Union. Actually, European Union has so many regulatory frameworks that governing artificial intelligence, and one of them the AI Act that was issued almost a year ago. And I believe this kind of regulations is harming harming the European Union more than harming United States and China, because throughout the history of technology is able to prosper and able to have a rapid development within unregulated environment. This helps the innovation, that helps because you don't have so many restrictions. Of course, there is a concern about the ethical use of AI all over the world, and I've been practicing.
Well, that's a very important point, actually.
This is very important. However, the implementation of or having a kind or a tool or a mechanism to enforce such ethical AI frameworks is becoming very challenging, even within a European Union that already have their own AI Act.
Okay, I'm sorry for interrupting you. We have to go for the Adhan, and then we'll be back. Stay tuned. Welcome back. We're talking about AI technology and that a fierce race and competition between the United States and China. We're joined by Dr. Mohammed Azzam. Dr. Mohammed, how far both countries use AI to project power internationally? Is it now a way of projecting power?
Definitely. Because actually by owning this core technology, they can advance their economic sectors, manufacturing sectors, retail sector, healthcare sector, defense sector, the financial services sector, and of course that will give them the ability to have a leap ahead and to develop their economy at a faster pace and becoming a dominant economy, and then will lead to controlling the global dynamics. So this is that's why they are investing seriously. That's why they are developing a lot of projects and spending billions every year, or hundreds of billions. Actually, United States is spending like 700 billion on R&D annually, and China is spending like 550 billion every year. And if you see the size of the number of filed patents coming from China, we are talking here about 1.5 million files a year, while United States we're talking about 500,000. So this is nobody can have such economic advancement leading to have or creating wealth for enterprises and of course for the nation and individuals without spending such size of R&D, because R&D is not becoming a matter of option now. It's becoming a matter of survival to own the technology and to develop different sectors. Developing different sectors means more economic power, means more control on the international arena.
So with all that amount of money, trillions of dollars, as you said, security concerns arise. How far security concerns dominate in the field, how far they create new areas of competition between the two countries?
This is actually becoming on the top of the agenda of all countries.
Yes.
Because we are living in a digital era, we are totally dependent on data, and of course the data security, the cyber security is becoming a major concern for all nations. And the great powers or the countries that are leading the technology are very concerned about digital security and cyber security. That's why they are investing in upgrading their digital infrastructure all the time. And they are investing in developing new technologies for increasing the level of security when it comes to data and data manipulation. And of course they are opening a lot of venues for cooperation with the multinationals working within such countries to help them to ease a lot of regulation for them to develop more, and actually this is totally supported by most of the cases by government funded projects. And they are thinking of also lessen the impact on more fragile instruments, that including individuals, small and medium enterprises, local governments, by availing such security measures or upgrading their security measures on the expenses of the country itself. As well as they are now totally keen to have a sort of international cooperation, because we cannot harm each other as nations when it comes to data. We are living in a connected world. We are sharing data, and we totally dependent on data. Our financial system is totally dependent this on a global level. Our trade system, our supply chain system, our energy systems, our transportation systems. So actually in this kind of conflict when it comes to cybersecurity, this again nobody will win. Because if I have the ability to harm you and to attack your digital infrastructure, your digital system, definitely the other country will do such. So that's why now NATO, I think in 2000 2022 included massive cyber attacks within clause number 5 within the NATO that will trigger the common defense mechanism. And this shows that data security and cyber security and the electronic attacks or the cyber attacks is becoming a very serious issue, and also again this needs a different level of cooperation. We need to on the international.
Is there actually cooperation in that field? I mean, especially massive cyber attacks, because at the end of the day each country tries to defend its interests and its concerns. Also, we cannot neglect individuals or groups who can, you know, wage massive cyber attacks, and I've seen that.
Actually, the problem here, the issue here is most of the attacks are triggered by individuals or groups that you cannot tie or having a direct relation with governments. And you see this is in the major or the massive cyber attacks. Look at what happened in the Russian-Ukrainian conflict, for example. Most of the news is saying that a group called XYZ that could be affiliated with Russia, or this another group that could be affiliated with China, and this another group that could be affiliated with the United States. This is another problem because the cyber war, most of the time the doers here, the active actors are either individuals or groups scattered all over the world, because I don't have to be in the United States to attack United States, or I don't have to be in China to attack China. I can have a cyber attack on the Chinese infrastructure while I'm staying in Africa, or having an attack on the Ukrainian infrastructure while I'm staying in Australia. So
yes,
it is very complicated actually, and that's why again the technology can play a pivotal role here by investing heavily in cybersecurity core technologies. And AI is one of the tools that could increase the level of security when it comes to this area. And of course this will be coupled with another technologies called the quantum technologies, and this will have a sort of a better way to protect our data, our digital systems, and actually it's another race, and a lot of investment is taking place in this sector as well, because we totally dependent now on our digital systems. We are totally dependent on every level actually.
Indeed. Let's go for our next report. Stay tuned, please.
Artificial intelligence has rapidly emerged as one of the most transformative forces shaping the modern world, no longer confined to academic research or experimental laboratories. AI now influences virtually every aspect of contemporary life, from economic systems and industrial productivity to national defense and geopolitical power structures. As countries race to harness the potential of AI, its dominance is profoundly impacting global security dynamics and reshaping national economies in both developed and developing regions. This AI arms race raises global concerns about the development of autonomous weapons and the erosion of human oversight in critical military decisions. It also also increases the risk of miscalculations where AI systems could trigger unintended escalations during crises. As the US-China AI rivalry escalates, its consequences will be felt worldwide. Economically, nations may be forced to choose technological ecosystems. Militarily, the risk of AI-driven conflict increases. Politically, the competition raises fundamental questions about the values embedded in future AI systems. Many countries in the global south are caught in the middle, benefiting from Chinese AI infrastructure investments while also engaging with American technology and standards. This creates a fragmented digital world where AI governance could split along geopolitical lines. To mitigate risks, there is a growing call for international cooperation on AI governance, including agreements on safe use, transparency, and military restraint. However, with growing distrust and strategic rivalry, such cooperation remains limited. AI technologies are fundamentally altering how countries produce goods, deliver services, and create economic value. Nations that successfully adopt and scale AI systems are experiencing significant boosts in productivity, efficiency, and innovation. The artificial intelligence contributes to economic growth by automating routine tasks, optimizing complex operations, and enabling data-driven decision-making. For example, industries such as finance, healthcare, logistics, and manufacturing have seen measurable gains in output and reduced operational costs. The AI revolution risks widening the digital and economic gap between wealthy and poor nations. Developed countries with better infrastructure, research capabilities, and capital are outpacing less developed ones. Without targeted support and knowledge transfer, many low-income nations may become increasingly dependent on foreign AI technologies, potentially undermining their digital sovereignty. AI is also revolutionizing the security landscape, affecting military capabilities, intelligence operations, cybersecurity, and even public safety. Nations are now integrating AI into their defense systems at an unprecedented rate. AI is enhancing military operations through autonomous weapons, real-time battlefield analysis, and advanced decision support systems. Autonomous drones, unmanned vehicles, and AI-guided missiles systems are reducing human involvement in direct combat while increasing precision. The US, China, and Russia are leading in this domain, with other nations following suit to maintain strategic parity. However, the deployment of lethal autonomous weapons raises significant ethical and legal concerns. Without clear international norms, the risk of accidental conflict escalation or misuse by non-state actors grows significantly. AI strengthens national cybersecurity by detecting and responding to threats faster than traditional systems. In fact, artificial intelligence is rapidly reshaping the world's economic and security architecture. While it presents enormous opportunities for growth, innovation, and safety, it brings risks of inequality, job displacement, surveillance abuse, and geopolitical instability.
Welcome back. Another battlefield is big data and data analysis. How far there is competition or cooperation in that field, and what about ethics? Because when you control data analysis or big data, you have everything.
You definitely have everything, because you have the data, and I can process the data, analyze the data, having a profile for individuals, having a profile for communities, and do whatever I'd like to do, because I have a complete digital fingerprint of everyone on the planet. That's why, again, actually, EU is doing a great job in this regards when it comes to ethical or actually they have so many restrictions of manipulation the data. That's why a couple of years ago they imposed a fine on Meta and Ireland with 1.2 billion US dollars for misusing the data, and another 2.5 billion on Google for manipulation of data for the online advertising. Because you have the data, but you don't have the right to manipulate the data. Or having a sort of misuse, or having my personal information for a purpose that is not part of my consensus. Actually, I didn't give you the consensus to use this kind of data for this purpose. So it's another actually dilemma that we are living due to the size of data that we are working with, and our total dependency on the data. And of course, ethics should be there and should be enforced, and this kind of things should be regulated. In Egypt here we have Data Privacy Act, and as well as European Union, but unfortunately not many other countries.
What about the United States and China? They don't.
You don't have.
They don't have regulations.
They are not regulating the data to the extent similar to the European Union or Data Act, actually. So they are totally opening such data for large companies, and large companies are building their own models, processing the data, analyzing the data, building very profitable business models when it comes to advertising, or availing retail services, availing financial services. And of course this is another battlefield, because the size of data needs another thing, which is the data centers.
Yes.
Data centers now is consuming huge amount of energy. That's why during the last few days we start to hear news about a company, one of the largest IT or high-tech companies in the United States, is planning to own a nuclear energy plant. Another company is actually dealing with one of the major energy companies in the United States to give them at least 1 tera giga kilowatt of energy over the last 20 years.
But that will put extra pressure on the energy market, which already is suffering.
Definitely, and will put pressure on the environment as well.
An environment, of course.
That's why we see a country like Iceland is now becoming a destination for data centers because of the cold weather.
Yes.
And there are a lot of research is taking place for having a sort of renewable energies that's more sustainable. And I think this kind of demand on energy will open a new vista for nuclear energy again, despite of its hazard, despite of its cost. But actually, at the end of the day, it's considered one of the cheap sources of energy. And of course, the safety measures has been improved a lot over the last 10 or 15 years. And this will open another wave of building nuclear plants. I see this from my humble perspective, because it's easy to using this nuclear power it will give you a very easy and fast way and to provide the required energy for this kind of very novel applications that consumes a lot of energy. So this is the dynamics is beyond the imagination, actually.
Billions and trillions of dollars are invested in that field, which makes me think, is there a place there for developing countries?
This is another dilemma. Of course, what's called the Global South.
Yes.
It needs to own this technology. Otherwise, their ability to have a sort of economic development will be suffered a lot, and this will increase the gap between the global north and the global south. Actually, missing this wave will widen the gap to an extent that we cannot imagine. It will be behind imagination. So this is another dilemma. That's why we need a collective effort among the global south. And of course, this could, I see a room for cooperation with countries like China, for example, because it's still a developing nation. It's not a developed nation yet. To have this kind of knowledge transfer, this kind of joint R&D projects, this kind of joint projects in regarding...
Do you really think that China would be really interested in moving and transferring technologies to developing countries and share it with them?
Nobody will share the know-how, because the know-how is the capital of, actually, this is the real value of owning this kind of know-how.
Yes.
This will make a company worth trillions of dollars, making your GDP actually advancing by 6 or 7% every year. This means that you will be able to create wealth. Of course, it's very challenging and it's a dilemma. That's why global south, they need to have more innovative mechanism to have actually collective efforts on R&D, to build their own models, to acquire the knowledge through training, to acquire the knowledge through education in most prestigious advanced educational institutions all over the world, especially in the United States and India and China. We need to find a way out, because actually missing this wave would be very risky, because your ability to have a sort of economic growth, it will be questionable, will be debatable. This will lead to very harsh social and economic consequences.
Can we talk about India in that sense of being a role model of a developing country who was able to invest heavily in technology and IT, and nowadays one of the leading countries in that field?
Definitely, but in this wave we cannot compare it with the United States and China.
Definitely.
Actually, they are lagging behind China and the United States for sure. That's why they are focusing on niche markets or niche technologies, that including the pharmaceutical sector, that including the healthcare sector, to excel in these domains, of course, and to excel. Actually, they did a great job when it comes to IT in general. But however, the wave of AI is changing even the IT sector, is disrupting the IT sectors. Actually, we are seeing now layoffs coming from multinationals because they don't need the skills now of the current skills of the current developers. So another issue is the labor force would need to reskill and upskill all the time. It's not becoming an option. And a few years ago, if I need to reskill myself or equip myself with new skills, I would say I need to like 2-3 years to do so. Now I need 2-3 weeks to do so. So the ability to learn here all the time is becoming very fundamental and very principle. That's why even within the IT there are a lot of new dynamics, because the generative AI that is capable to deal with 150 zettabyte of information could replace even programmers. This is another very critical issues that are facing most of the people working in the IT sector nowadays. That's why we've seen a new role was called prompt engineer. The engineer who is asking the generative AI to write the code and to get codes from different coders and then sensitize everything together to make the new code, and actually train the AI model with the new code, and the AI model will give you a feedback what are the security measures that you need to take to make your application more secure, or there is a deficiency in some parts. It's a total new world. That's why our ability to be agile, actually agility and resilience, is not becoming an option even on the individual level, not on the national level, as we had this notion like 4 or 5 years ago. Even as an individual, I need to be resilient.
Well, actually, I was thinking, is it intelligent, is it wise to believe 100% and rely 100% on AI? Could we see something like what we saw in movies 10 or 15 years ago, where everything goes out of hand and nobody knows what will happen?
I believe science fiction movies is the anthropology of the future.
Yes.
So this could happen, but it would not happen tomorrow, because we are talking here.
Who knows?
Who knows? With this actually pace of development, really everything could happen, because now we are witnessing the general intelligence phenomenon. AI, few months ago or few years ago, was able to perform the routine jobs. Now we are moving from the routine jobs to having bots or the AI machines and algorithms.
Could it be manipulative? Could there be some stupid mistake, if we can say so, and that would cause a war between major countries? Could that happen? I mean, everybody's talking about AI like it's 100% reliable. Is it 100% reliable?
Not yet. Not yet, actually, but it will achieve this kind of reliability very soon. Because we are moving from the concept of doing routine jobs to doing actually non-routine jobs. So the bots or the AI machines will be able to interact with the surrounding. And based on the information and the feedback from the surrounding, from the environment around the bot can take a decision. And actually this is implemented now in what's called LAWS, or a lethal autonomous weapon system. And this kind of new weaponry systems actually is already implemented in wars like the war in Ukraine.
Talking of wars, I was thinking maybe by mistake one country would make a move and the AI would analyze this move as offensive and it would trigger a war. And before, we used to have phone calls, we have channels of communications, but with AI dominating, there would be no channels of communications, I think. You see that, you do that. Is it correct?
It could be, of course. It could be, and actually, that's why we
because
need...
mistakes happen anyway.
Definitely, but that's why I cannot, for the concept of the lethal autonomous weapon systems, because the machine can take the decision without supervision of human. And of course, that's why we need to make AI accountable by having, or the last decision should be or must be done by humans to hold people accountable. Otherwise, I cannot sue the machines. Or
so at the end of the day, you have to go back to human beings for major decisions, at least. Dr. Mohammed Azzam, board member of the International Association of Management of Technology, thanks for being with us.
Always pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. That was all for tonight. Stay tuned. I'm Mohammed Abdel Menaim.